Section 8.5 is on variation functions. Variation is a way of describing the relationship between two or more values. And we're going to take a look at 4 different types of variation: direct, inverse, joint, and combined. The constant of variation in each of these cases is represented by the letter K. First of all, direct variation says that y varies directly as x if y is equal to k times x. So if we're given 2 different sets of values, if y1 is equal to k times x1 and y2 is equal to k times x2, then solving each of those equations for k by dividing both sides by x, k is equal to y1 over x1, and k is also equal to y2 over x2, so y1 over x1 equals y2 over x2. Basically, y over x. And here's what a problem will look like. It says if y varies directly as x, so I know that's going to be y over x, because that's direct variation, and y is negative 15 when x is 5, I need to find y when x is 3. So these two values go together. So when y is negative 15 and x is 5, I need to find y when x is 3. And that gives me my equation to solve. By cross multiplying, I get 5y is equal to negative 15 times 3, or negative 45. So y is equal to negative 9. Second type of variation is called joint variation. It says that y varies jointly as x and z if y is equal to k times x z. So, given 2 sets of values, if y1 is equal to k times x1 z1 and y2 is equal to k times x2 z2, solving each of those equations for k by dividing by x and z, k is equal to y1 over x1 times z1, and k is also equal to y2 over x2 times z2. So substituting, since the k's are equal to each other, y1 over x1 z1 is equal to y2 over x2 z2. Let's take a look at an example. It says that y varies jointly as x and z. So I know that that's going to be y over x times z, because that's what joint variation is. Find y when x equals 10 and z equals 5, if y equals 12 when x equals 3 and z equals 8. So these 3 numbers are joined together, and my unknown that I have to find y is joined with this x and this z. So I need to find y when x is 10 and z is 5, and I know that y is 12 when x is 3 and z is 8. Simplifying that, y over 50 equals 12 over 24. Cross multiplying, 24y equals 50 times 12, which is 600, and dividing by 24, y is equal to 25. The third type of variation is called inverse variation, and it says that y varies inversely as x if y is equal to k over x. So if, given 2 sets of values, if y1 equals k over x1 and y2 equals k over x2, solving each of those equations for k by multiplying both sides by x, I get that k equals x1 y1 and k equals x2 y2. Since k is equal to k, then x1 y1 equals x2 y2. Here's an example. If y varies inversely as x, so that's basically x times y, and y equals negative 6 when x equals 2, those 2 numbers are together, find y when x equals negative 7. So for the first set of values together, x times y is 2 times negative 6, and that's going to be equal to x, my second x, which is negative 7 times y, or negative 12 equals negative 7y. Dividing both sides by negative 7, y is equal to 12 over 7. And the last type of variation we're going to take a look at is called combined variation. And it says y varies directly as x and y varies inversely as z. Whenever it says directly, you need to think that's going to be in the numerator. So x is going to be in the numerator. Inversely means it's going to be in the denominator. Z is going to be in the denominator. So our formula for that is y equals kx over z. So if we had two sets of values for x, y, and z, if y1 is equal to kx1 over z1, and y2 is equal to k times x2 over z2, then solving that, each of those equations for k by multiplying by z over x, k is equal to yz over x, y1 z1 over x1, and k is equal to y2 z2 over x. Substituting for k, y1 z1 over x1 equals y2 z2 over x2. Basically y times z over x. So y varies directly as x and varies inversely as z. So let's write the formula for that. So that was y z over x. So y varies directly as x. Did I get that right? Yeah. Directly as x and inversely as z. Find x when y is 6 and z is negative 5, if x is 18, when z is 3 and y is 5. So let's plug those in. So my first set of data is going to be an x, 6 for y, and negative 5 for z. So 6 times negative 5 over x is equal to 3 times 5 over 18. So negative 30 over x equals 15 over 18, or 15x equals negative 30 times 18, which is negative 540, or x is equal to negative 36. So in this lesson we looked at 4 different types of variation, and here's a little summary of each. Direct variation is y over x. Joint variation is y over x times z. Inverse variation is x times y. And combined variation is y times z over x.